What up, y'all? Welcome to the Gunslinger Gaming Frosty Pints. I'm Gobi. With me tonight is Dr. Omega Zero. And it's definitely been a fuck you Monday. But how y'all been? How's your weekend?
There was a weekend?
What's a weekend? What's that?
I've
heard about these things.
I think it's supposed to be the days that you have off, but I don't recall what that feels like.
What's off?
No,
I mean,
don't
other
think
than
so.
me on a daily basis, what's off?
Well, it's opposite of on, but I don't even remember what we're talking about. Fuck
Yep.
it, it's Monday. Speaking of, yeah, fuck it. Who wants to buy an iPhone for $10,000? Because you have to play Fortnite. That bad.
Fortnite's a great game.
Prove it.
I mean, isn't it cheaper to buy, like, I don't know, an Android phone and sideload it, or if you really, really have to do, a tablet or
The thing
laptop?
is you don't even have to sideload it in.
So
an Android.
underestimate the fervor of Apple fandom.
I know. No, I don't. Just as a kind of a strange experiment. So I had to buy my daughter a laptop, and I wanted something cheap. She's a teenager. She's 15, but obviously with this whole COVID stuff, she has to do a lot of online virtual stuff and whatever. And going between the two houses, I can't really get her a desktop.
Not that attitude.
I agree.
It's not economical to move it from house to house. So I got her a laptop.
Sounds like
Not
excuses
fancy,
to me.
It's extremely economical.
You can get like a micro ATX build. You can get like a nice little
Suitcase. Build a suitcase.
I could, but I bought her this nice Ryzen 3 laptop. That's it. It's a Ryzen 3 with the Vega 3 graphics card, which is integrated, by the way, and 8 gigs of RAM. And that motherfucker can play Fortnite.
It sounds to me, Gobi, like you're projecting your values onto your children.
Dude, yeah, okay. First question is, I told my daughter I'm getting her laptop. First question out of her mouth: will it be able to play Fortnite?
Wait, hang on a second. While we're talking about this, isn't the laptop going to be for school? Or
yeah.
is the school providing a laptop?
No, they don't. She's in high school, so
Oh,
this was one of those things. Like she's a sophomore. You know how many papers you wrote as a sophomore and junior? Like
absolutely zero. I failed those classes.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wrote a ton.
So she obviously needed. That's why I got the laptop, so she could do like essays. But I want to be practical. This isn't a one-show pony. Might as well have multitask, multifunction. Get the best bang for my buck. It's not great. It'll last her a couple years. When she's done with it, she can hand it down to her 12-year-old, or her 12-year-old. My 12-year-old, and she can use it. And yeah, because by then she's gonna have a better laptop, or she'll have a desktop too, and all that fun stuff.
Okay, in insider news, Omega, you'll appreciate this. I just killed some glass fuckers on the Valus, and before one exploded, I turned away and then turned back. He was T-posing. I got this stock character model T-pose as he blew up. It was funny. All right, so why do you think it's important for your daughter to play Fortnite in school, Gobi? Why don't you care about education in this country?
Oh no, she better not be playing Fortnite in school. But if she wants to play Fortnite at her mom's house after school, I got no problem with that.
Why don't you encourage your children to play Warframe? Are you anti-Warframe?
Nope.
That's what I'm hearing.
Actually, I encourage my kids to play any game they want. My son plays Fallout 76. Yeah, they just.
So you're teaching him bad habits early. Good job, Gobi.
Well, right, of course.
It's
I am the dad.
Gobi night.
He's got to learn to make bad decisions early in life because, what else is there? Come on. Let's face it. Bad decisions, you have way more fun.
Yeah, I guess.
Move on to a new topic. It's getting hard for me to hold my tongue.
Okay, so
What's happening with Apple?
You want to skip over Intel and go right into the long?
We can do
Apple
that.
thing?
I don't care. We can do either or. They're both great.
Order doesn't matter.
Order is irrelevant. Time is a meaningless construct. We're not
It's all
actually
right.
alive.
It's like one of the biggest stories.
One cannot prove sentience.
So you got some new updates in the ongoing saga of Epic versus Apple. Epic decided to file an injunction against Apple for banning them from their platforms. And Apple is now holding the Unreal Engine hostage, basically saying that, because basically what this means is that by taking Epic off their platforms, other developers won't have access to Epic's tools, to Unreal, to a lot of other things. So they filed an injunction, and then Apple basically says no exceptions to you just because you're big and powerful, so we'll go to court. And the most recent update that I actually saw just today, Microsoft came out on Epic's side and says that Apple blocking Epic's developer account is going to harm game creators and gamers. So now we've got Microsoft weighing in on this battle between Apple and this is getting really interesting. Like, we've got a video game developer and platform creator in Epic. We've got a massive tech conglomerate whose specialty is mobile devices, and then we've got the largest computer company in the world. This story is growing and the fact that so many of these major massive voices are speaking in or are weighing in really speaks to the gravity of this case and what this situation that's been engineered by Epic could end up showing us.
I agree.
Well,
It's
and-
really funny watching multi-million dollar companies, sometimes multi-billion-dollar companies, fight each other over whose PP is bigger. That's my attitude towards this whole thing. Is I understand what what Epic is doing. I actually think it's hilarious that Microsoft came out in support of Epic, because it's kind of like, yeah, we had an antitrust lawsuit too. How does it feel, Apple? It's petty, but it's predictable, and they also get to look good in the process. So you know what? Why the fuck not? This is it's like watching a bad reality TV show with billion-dollar corporations as the characters.
Do you think Microsoft coming out and saying that they believe this is bad for game developers and bad for gamers, do you think they're just kind of saying this because it's the right thing to say to help them sort of put the screws to Apple?
Yes,
or
absolutely. This is lip service.
This is lip service. You think it's just lip service?
No, it's just lip service, and they're doing it because money. They're going to look good over this. They're hopefully going to drive more Fortnite players or younger gamers to their platforms and be like, "Hey, look at us. We're hip. We're cool, kids."
Yeah, we over here with the Windows PCs love Fortnite.
By the way, can we interest you in Windows 10 Pro Edition? It's for gamers.
That's a fair thought. I hadn't looked at it from that angle. I was more thinking of the legitimate point of what Microsoft was saying, but that's an interesting take on it. I like the cynicism. I am a fan of it.
It's corporate America. If you know what to look for, it's nothing but cynicism in my experience.
That's not incorrect.
That just, Doc's point of it kind of reminds me of the Steve Buscemi, "Hey kids, I heard you're pretty gangster."
God, this Steve. Have you seen the 30 Rock episode where he's going and he's infiltrating the kids undercover?
What's up, my fellow teenagers?
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
That.
Oh God, yeah, that is how I see Microsoft in this.
That's fair. Yeah, all right.
It's okay. You know what? If
I'm certainly not like standing here like gonna defend Microsoft and say, "Come
No,
on, guys,
no,
it's
of
clear
course
that
not.
they're so serious here."
Of
But
course
I
not.
think
No.
that's a funny take. I like it.
I think we can all recognize and appreciate that none of us here have a dog in this fight. We recognize this for exactly what it is. It's corporate warfare, and if Epic loses, so sad. How many billions of people are going to be put out of work? None. It's kind of fun to watch.
Though, is that, but the point really though is about banning Epic from like the developer platform. I mean, that does legitimately hurt because like you gotta realize Epic is more than just Fortnite. That is Unreal Engine. That is one of the premier video game engines in the industry. And if they're banned from the developers platform, that's going to hurt people who are trying to push their first app to the App Store. That's so. The original beginning of this was definitely a pissing contest of, hey, we want more money from you, so or we want to not give you 30% of all of the money that we make from the App Store. But now that it's elevated to the point where Apple has kicked them off the developer platform, and now it could legitimately, I mean, that's taking one of the main industry tools away from developers.
It is, but that doesn't mean the Unreal Engine is not the only engine that people can use to design their video game. It is a popular one. It is fairly easy to use. If anybody has ever used Unreal or Unity or anything like that, then they're easy to use. But that being said, right there, it's not the only tool that you can use. It's getting rid of a popular one, yes, and maybe you could argue that it's funneling business and development over to another one. Fine, I could believe that too. But the crux of this argument is, because Epic has made it, is Apple monopolizing the programs that are being put on their devices. Does Apple have too much power? And you know what? Whatever this decision is, back or forth, it's a fun question. I'm not going to say it's going to be earth-shattering or groundbreaking or it's going to influence how society rolls for the next decade or so, but it's an interesting question, and I enjoy it for the drama that it has generated, especially with Microsoft coming out, because as I said, I think that's funny. It's good reality TV.
I mean, I will say, I definitely agree that it's not going to impact society at large as a whole. But I do think
it could.
But no, it couldn't. Like, gaming isn't that important.
I do think that this is going to have an impact on the gaming industry and the way.
Oh, absolutely.
The way that it operates, the way that developers go about producing games, the way they go about deciding how they approach different platforms.
Do you think that this could impact Apple negatively, and that developers, if Apple comes out ahead on this one, do you think that developers might stop producing apps for Apple in favor of Windows and Linux?
Apps, no. Games, yes. Like, wait, let's stop and talk about, this is all about gaming, and I'm a Linux gamer. All right, I might be the only Linux gamer of the four of us, and Linux gaming is fucking tiny. We can all agree on that, right?
Oh yeah, no. The Steam selection of Linux games is very small, and I don't know where else to get Linux games besides
Mac
Steam.
OS is fucking a quarter of the size of the Linux. So I mean, you're talking about this very small, like them taking Unreal Engine off. All people are going to do is say, you know what? Well, we're just not going to develop for Apple, and if you want to play our games, you're going to have to buy, a Linux or Windows machine to play our game.
Well, from a development standpoint, that makes sense to me, because it's too costly for you to run two forks of one project, one just for Mac. This is the only, a game that's really super fucking popular for Apple specifically is The Sims. Like, EA has really catered to the Apple community in the past years. So, how's EA going to react to this? If the ruling comes out and says, Apple has the right to control whatever apps are put on the App Store. How does that work? Is it worth it for EA?
EA is not selling their games on the App Store. Well, wait, there is a Sims Mobile, isn't there?
There is a Sims Mobile.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how you would get Origin or whatever their launcher is on your Apple, if that's just a direct download and install, or if you have to get that through the Apple Store.
Well, so here's the.
But
Okay, you're
Sims
looking at
Mobile
these big
specifically.
names. You're looking at these big names and wondering how it'll impact them. It won't. They're going to continue doing business. If Apple wins this case, they're going to continue doing business as things were, and that's sort of the point that I made at the beginning, was that if Apple wins, status quo remains. The real thing would be is if Apple loses, and at the end of the day, the big company. If Apple loses in this, the big companies are going to make a lot more money. Yes, but those little guys who are
game developers who are using Unity.
That's an extra 40%. No, every app developer on the store, every single one of them. If Epic wins, every single app on the store will be able to cut the App Store out of transactions. They will be able to do, because that's the crux of this whole discussion, is Epic wants direct transactions between Epic Games and the players, and not have to give Apple a 40% cut off the top of every transaction, of every skin, of every V-Buck purchase made through the App Store. But what that means is that when some guy develops his first app and sells 30-cent boosters, he's making all of that 30 cents for every booster pack he sells, rather than making 20 cents. And that all adds up. So, and hell, when you do look at the bigger developers, one thing that we talk about, and this kind of ties into a story I added later on down the topic list for today's show. We hear a lot about the grind of game developers and how hard it is for them. We've been more aware of it in the recent years as people have been more public talking about how fucking miserable it is developing games. Well, if a company is making an extra 40% money, they could hire more people. They might be able to pay people better. Like, who knows? It could change the economic structure of.
I don't see Apple doing that
segment of gaming.
What they'll do is they'll do what Google does to bypass it. So if your app is sold in the App Store, they get 30% cut or whatever it is, through 40% or whatever it is, or you can sideload the app with no whatever, and you can do in-app purchases separately. Otherwise, like you said, Apple stands to lose a whole lot of money, and I think if it comes down to it and it gets to that point, they'll say, no, look, you can sideload apps, because it's going to save them from losing a shit ton of money, like you just described.
Well, yeah, I mean, that could end up being their solution, but at the same time, sideloading apps would also potentially lose them a lot of money. So I think Apple's biggest interest would be to fight this tooth and nail to the. I mean, that's impossible for us to say. We certainly are in no position to judge the economics behind Apple's accounting.
How dare you? I'm a doctor.
But you could be right, but that's just us guessing.
Well, I mean,
end of the day, either of those two options, Apple's going to lose money. So their interest is to fight this tooth and nail. Like, Apple really wants to win this. Like, Epic, if it wins, it'll be good for them. But if they don't, things will stay the same, and they're a successful company right now, and they will not be less successful because of this. If Apple loses, Apple has nothing to win here and everything to lose.
Oh, but it's not just Apple that has everything to lose, too. Like, you guys have been talking so much about Apple. I think everybody's so focused on what happens if Apple loses to Apple. What happens if Apple loses to PlayStation and Xbox? Those are the exact same thing. Like, you can't put your game on the Xbox store without Xbox getting a cut of it.
Okay, thank you for reminding me of something else here that I failed to bring up last week. Take a more meta look at what you just said, because you're right. The Xbox Game Store is the only way to put games on or whatever. It's not the only way, but it's the primary way. It's the controlled way. Xbox is not the only console game that you have access to. There are exclusives for it. You could argue maybe an exclusive is an example of a monopoly, but you'd have a hard time doing that. If you don't like Xbox, you can go play PlayStation. If you don't like PlayStation, you can go play Wii. There are options out there. It's the same thing for Apple. If you don't like the Apple Store, you can buy a PC. So if you take a meta look at this, it's not really an antitrust case. But
Well,
I understand the legal argument where they're trying to say it is.
see, I think, and I could be wrong with this, and I haven't seen it explicitly say this, but my understanding of this is that it's not about, and this is where the sideloading issue comes up. It's not about the fact that Apple takes a cut of the sale of the app, because it's the app store, and when you sell your product at a store, the store gets a cut. What Epic is specifically going after is the in-app transactions.
Right.
It's not the you like this app is listed for $4.99 on the App Store, so you pay $4.99 to the App Store to buy the app. You get it on your phone, and then the developer gets 60% of that. Apple takes the rest. This is you have Fortnite on your phone, a free app, and you want to buy something from Fortnite for $5. Epic wants that whole $5. Fortnite's a free app, so they don't give a shit about the cut of the sale of an app. This is all about in-app purchases, and them wanting 100% of that revenue. And that's specifically what they instituted in their update. They put that in, and that's what got them kicked off. So it's more about that side of the discussion than the platform or the store itself, or like the sale of the app itself. So that's where it gets complicated, and the reason you could argue it's a monopoly, it is an antitrust thing, is because if you are playing that game and that is the platform that you're playing it on, you have no option to purchase those things other than through Apple. And so the antitrust is that Apple has complete and total control over in-app purchases on the store. And but I don't know. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong.
I think you can buy V-Bucks for iOS through a web browser.
But here's the thing. If you purchase it through the web browser because you're buying it for iOS, does Apple still get a cut of that?
I don't. That is a good question. I would think.
By web browser, do you mean at like epic.com, or do you mean
you go into Chrome and like you go to Fortnite and where the fuck is it?
So you do it through your Epic account on.
Yeah, gotcha. You can buy V-Bucks right on. I gotta find the fucking thing though.
Well, that's interesting. That does make me wonder if then, in that case, there's just a contract that says Apple gets a cut on the back end of that because it's getting delivered through the App Store.
See, and that's where, because where the fuck?
And that's where the sideloading thing will come in, because all updates have to be delivered through the App Store.
Isn't the reason why Apple doesn't really like sideloading as a company is because of the security risk that it poses?
No, money.
Money. Security.
Let's clarify.
If they could sell malware that stole money, they would.
Yeah, no, that's the lie that they tell to.
That's the market reason, Zero.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay. In their defense, we'll be all honest. There is a possibility that sideloading an app onto your phone could cause damage to your phone. Again, if you're installing an app from an unknown source onto your phone, you take that risk regardless of its computer, a phone, or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's a common sense risk. We'll call it that. But other than that,
in the same way that picking up a $5 prostitute and not wearing a condom could result in an STD, yes, what Gobi is saying is correct.
And the common sense would be not to pick up the $5 prostitute, but
no, the common sense is to wear a condom, Gobi.
Thank you. Prostitutes need to make a living
now, hang on.
Gunslinger,
hang on. Gunslinger Gaming does not endorse
the
legal act.
How dare you? I'm a doctor.
We're all in Vegas. We swear, we're in Vegas.
What are you,
Oh,
gay?
good.
Don't.
Oh god.
Speaking
Oh,
of Vegas and odds,
Intel.
Intel next generation gaming GPUs, hit or miss, boys.
Player 3 has entered the game. Intel going to 6mm or nanometer architecture. I mean, that means something. I don't know. I'm fuck it. It was that
yeah,
fun.
probably. It sounds very impressive. Big peepee.
Yeah. It's little
Big
peepee.
peepee.
In this case, little peepee is big peepee.
That was a movie. That was
I
a
don't
movie
know.
starring Dustin
I'm-
Hoffman. Little Big Peepee.
I'm a little
Good
weird.
Dances with Wolves reference.
No, Little
Aren't
Big Man.
there their CPUs like not even down to a 7 nanometer die?
Well,
What? I
oh,
thought we were
good
still
question.
making peepee joke.
Yeah. Well, no, you can. It's all open season on PP jokes when we're talking about nanometers, especially with me. Looks like someone glued an acorn to the bottom of my torso. I don't know about processors. I do know that the 6 nanometer technology is revolutionary here. It's revolutionary, thanks to Intel. We're not sponsored by Intel, but if you want to sponsor us, we're totally cool with that. Tweet at me.
And we do take food as payment. Just saying.
I'll work for alcohol.
I'll just take an AMD Threadripper.
We're trying to get sponsored by Intel, you fuck.
Well, I figured they would, here, you can test out the competition and you will give all these guys the other, i9s or whatever, and yeah, there, comparison. I'll be
Somebody
the
kick him. Somebody kick him, please.
No, I had been a fan of Intel since forever. I'm not the 6 nanometer. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think NVIDIA even has 7 nanometer, unless the 2080 was 7 nanometer. Somebody want to correct me?
I don't know off the top of my head. So we're just going to say yes. That sounds approximately correct. Continue, Gobi.
Yes, it looks like the TI is the 2080 Ti is 7 nanometer. So they finally get it in the middle of this year, and Intel still isn't at 7 nanometer for their CPUs. But their GPUs are going to be running on a 6 nanometer. So why aren't their CPUs running on a 6 nanometer too?
Well, hasn't forever GPUs and CPUs been on different scale die? Isn't that not anything new at all? Because it's completely different technology.
No, both the Ryzen GPUs and CPUs are on 7 nanometer dies.
Oh, interesting. I always saw the GPUs as typically being smaller die than CPUs. Yeah, GPUs.
No, well, no,
one way or the other.
they both got down to, basically we've gotten down to 7 nanometer, which I believe Intel was at 10 millimeter, and they might have been making a 7 millimeter for the i9. I'm sorry, guys, I haven't kept up, but yeah, basically 7 nanometer is insane. 6 nanometer will give a huge boost in performance, but I don't think the technology's there yet, especially with these cards slated to come out in 2021. But I'm happy for them to prove me wrong.
Me too.
Well, and these all say they come in the 10 nanometer in the middle of the page. Products, packaging, and processing overview. They all say 10 nanometer super thin.
Can you say that again with more emphasis? I love it when you thump your P's.
That makes me moist.
That's my favorite part of the podcast is when you say Frosty Pints podcast and you really hit that P.
It is.
And he didn't say it tonight, which made me sad.
It makes me
He
tickle.
didn't. Fuck!
Gobi, redo the intro now. 3,
Redo
2,
the
1, go.
Starting the podcast over again. Do it.
All right. What up, y'all? Welcome to the Gunslinger Gaming Frosty Pints podcast.
There we
Is
go.
that better?
Yeah, that's it. We can
Guys,
cut
all-
that in post.
Yeah, we'll
All
fix it in
right.
post.
Fuck it, we'll fix it in post.
Oh, this Diablo 2 must be what you're talking about when you're talking about grind, not Warframe.
Yeah, so interestingly, the former head of Blizzard North, which was the studio that made Diablo 2, was given a talk at, let me reopen this article. Yeah, it was at DevCom Digital. And he was just talking about the process and how much of a fucking grind it was to churn out Diablo 2 because they just kept adding subclass, or they kept adding classes, kept adding levels, kept adding content. You know, they had to push back the game because they just kept developing more and more and more and more. And it got to the point where like guys were sleeping in sleeping bags on the floor. They were handing out toothbrushes. Like people were living there to churn out this game. And 14 hours a
Thank
day, every single day. And it's just, as we hear more and more lately, like I said earlier, about the grind that video game developers go for, we as gamers are responsible, and we have to be cognizant of the physical cost of our hobby.
Fuck that. Give me more games faster.
Yeah, it was just interesting to hear him talk about it.
Yeah, I will definitely. Thank you guys for all those long hours and sleeping in the sleeping bags.
I used to do that
definitely
shit as a
appreciate
kid. It wasn't that hard.
Yeah, campings are fun.
But we appreciate you doing it
For sure.
for us.
I don't
no,
appreciate it
yeah.
at all. No, fuck that. I'm a millennial. I deserve things. And I don't have to say thank you at all. And if,
how many hours do you have into Diablo 2? Just round up.
I played it from the start of high school until like 4 years after college.
So nearest 100.
Nearest to 100? No, like... Jesus Christ, I probably have more time in that game than I have in Diablo 3, and I've got 4,000 hours in Diablo 3 at last count, which was 4 years ago. If Leetness were here, he would know, but he stopped doing podcasts, and I hate him for it. I'm in a secret fight with the Leetness.
Aww.
No, it's okay.
Come back to us.
Yeah, I wish that he would, but he's not gonna. It's so fun. We'll make up and we'll spoon, and it'll be fine.
He doesn't love us anymore.
He definitely doesn't.
Yeah, well, it's all that vacation. I mean, he's too well rested.
It's true. I believe it. I was gonna go
If
off
that was a problem-
I was gonna go off on a secret or not a secret tangent, a subtle tangent about Anno 1404, the History Edition that got released, because I've been just watching the situation develop, and I've noticed a pattern in everybody who complains about it coming out and saying like, this was just, they should have given this to former customers for free. And it's like, no. First of all, this is a company and they want money. Second of all, this is a company that addressed a game that was like 15 years old. You're lucky it got any attention at all. 11 years old, excuse me. And yeah, they updated it for 64-bit. That's just a patch, says the person who doesn't know anything about game programming or just programming in general.
Well, they didn't fucking give out WoW Classic for free, did they?
No.
Yeah.
You have to have the you actually have to have a subscription to retail to be able to play WoW Classic.
Oh, okay. So it's like a free add-on to the regular WoW.
Yeah, essentially, but
All right.
I mean, still not free.
I thought you could. So you can't just like straight up buy WoW Classic.
No, you cannot. You have to be able to access WoW Classic at all. You have to have a monthly subscription to you have to have a monthly subscription to retail.
They didn't learn their lesson from Call of Duty, huh? Okay, good job, guys. I mean, I guess it's working for them. So why learn your lesson? For those of you that don't remember, they remastered Call of Duty Modern Warfare and bundled it with, I think it was Advanced Warfare, some shit like that, and nobody bought it because they only wanted to play the remaster, but you couldn't buy the remaster by itself until a year later because they realized people don't want to play the crappy game to get the good game. Well, as good as a Call of Duty remaster can be. Speaking of remasters, Switch 2021. New. Anybody excited?
Switch 2021. I don't play Switch myself, but I imagine there are some members in our community who are going to be enthusiastic about the new
Hey,
Switch.
Crinkle Pouch.
Don't know what. Yeah. Come on, Crinkle. Come back on the podcast. We miss you.
Yes, and when you're done being bored of playing Switch, we miss you in GTA. I know it probably take you 4 days to reinstall it, but just do it. We'll welcome you back with open arms. I will even get back into GTA just to play with you.
I was about to say, I've logged more time in GTA in the last month than you have in the last 3.
Yeah, but like you're new, and that's how it is for everybody who starts playing GTA. Is that you get sucked in, and then you go hard on it, and then you get burned out. We all went through it.
It's true, and I will honestly say that that little playing of that is totally Gobi's fault. In fact, I think even Doc, Leetness, and Omega all had input on that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because it was free. And y'all were like, hey, get the game, it was free.
Yeah,
Yes.
speaking of free games, Hitman, I believe it's the Hitman Gold Edition, is going to be free on Epic Games starting this Thursday, I believe. It's Thursday to Thursday.
Is Hitman Gold the one that was released in 1995?
No, it's the one that was released like 4 years ago or something.
All right, I enjoy the Hitman games. I don't know anything about them, and I don't think I've played one since high school.
Let's see, I last played it in 2017, so it's at least that old. It was released on March 11th of 2016. It's basically, they went back to the roots. It's more the original Hitman, but it looks prettier, and they went with episodic content, and obviously the Gold Edition Game of the Year edition includes all of the season. Basically, each season was a new contract hit, and you went around the world. It's a pretty good game. I mean, especially if you're going to pick it up for free. It is a heavy stealth game. You can beat people with baseball.
I mean,
you would love this. You can dress up as a clown and beat somebody with a clown bat.
Oh yeah. Why the hell do you think? Yeah, exactly. That's why I enjoy Hitman for what it is. What I really enjoy about Hitman is Timothy Oliphant. Apart from that,
yes, I agree.
I mean, I can take or leave the games, but dressing up as a clown and murdering people with an explosive rubber ducky is a lot of fun, no doubt, no argument.
Yes, the rubber ducky scene was pretty amazing in that. Yeah. I guess the only thing else. Speaking of GTA, Rockstar is taking away people's cash. Oh wait, that's because they exploited shit. No, really?
What did I
people exploit stuff in GTA? You can't do that. Why would you do that to Rockstar?
There are no exploits in GTA. It's all completely above board. What the fuck are you talking about? Why are they taking my money away?
No, it's not everybody's money. Just apparently there was an
exploit from the most recent update that they did, and they've been punishing those who took advantage of it.
Well, shame on those people.
What the hell did you... So apparently you could make millions of dollars in minutes with your apartments and garages. Well, I mean, I'm just curious. Like, I really like... how... I mean, not that I'm going to do it, but, like, how did somebody find this glitch? Like,
there are people that play, like people who play Warframe way too hard. There are people who play GTA way too hard. It doesn't surprise me they found an exploit. It's just impressive.
I mean, honestly, it could have been with the amount of people who play it. It could have just been the kind of thing that somebody somehow randomly found and was like, "What the fuck just happened?" And then they realized, holy shit, I just made money doing this stupid thing, and I can do it over and over again. And it probably started like that, honestly. I feel like that's how a lot of exploits start, is someone just discovers it, and then it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah. Makes
I
sense.
accidentally the apartment.
I mean, that's how exploits start. Is either somebody is looking for one and finds it, or someone stumbles across one and reproduces it, and then they tell their friend who tells their next friend who posts it on Reddit, and next thing you know, YouTubers are making videos about it, and everybody's doing it.
So,
Yeah.
one of the things that was on the list was this D&D thing. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. I just noticed that.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast has announced a new D&D source book. They just released a couple months ago now the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, which is a new campaign setting. Which, for those of you who aren't familiar with D&D or tabletop gaming, there are different types of rule books for the games. You have campaign settings, which are like, think of like Lord of the Rings. Like the campaign setting would be the Silmarillion, the world in which the story takes place, while the rules books are the actual nuts and bolts of the game and how it plays and how the characters work and how the different abilities work and all that. So this is a new update to the rules, and they're adding all kinds of new content, new character subclasses, new systems for followers, and group deities, new puzzles, spells, artifacts, new magic items, magical tattoos, all kinds of cool shit. It's just fun to see. We're going on 7-8 years in 5th edition D&D, and they're still releasing new content and keeping abreast of the wishes of the community, and it's pretty cool to see the game growing. And as a DM of a session with the Doc, Zero, Leetness, and Masami, I'm looking forward to having some new toys to play with.
And I was looking at this, and I was thinking, is this a replacement for Xanthars, or is it in addition to?
In addition to.
Okay.
So the names are an interesting thing. So there's some of the named books in or books associated with names. You've got Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. You've got Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and now you've got Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Now, what's interesting, those three names are, according to the lore of the main D&D campaign setting, the Forgotten Realms, these are super powerful wizards, historical figures who are super powerful wizards who are part of like a circle of super powerful wizards or whatever. And they discovered a lot of spells that are still in use today. Like in the game, there's a spell called Tasha's Hideous Laughter. There's a spell called Leomin's Tiny Hut. There are a number of spells that include a name along with them, and that was these super powerful wizards in the history of the game. Well, those wizards were the player characters of the people who invented the game. Like, Tasha was the name of a wizard who was a character in Gary Gygax's original game, and Gary Gygax is the guy who invented D&D. So it's really cool history how all these are tied together, and lore-wise, like these are people who, like Xanathar is actually a beholder monster that just researches and learns about as much as he can and uses his eternal life to just learn all the facts of the world.
Nice.
It's just really interesting. I really like the way that they weave the lore into their books. And if you actually read the foreword to the books, it's actually like written as if it was, this was a text written by this character.
Wait, you have
a lot of fun.
Hold on. There might be a reference in here. I can't remember the specific name of the TV show, but you reference the name of these people. There's M and then X and then T. Wasn't MXT the dubbed over Japanese game show that we used to watch on the?
That was MXC.
MXC. Okay. Yep.
Maximum Extreme Challenge.
Yes.
And
okay.
that was one of the greatest shows ever.
That is a phenomenal show. If you can catch any MXC on YouTube and just watch that, it is fucking hilarious.
Oh my
Basically,
god!
what happened was there was a Japanese TV show that had all these insane challenges, and then the Japanese TV show, for whatever reason, folded and got sold to the USA Network. And the USA Network, instead of just playing the episodes and adding subtitles, just completely redubbed over what everyone was saying and made up their own shit.
And the dubbing, it is crude and hilarious, and just no. It's kind of stuff you probably couldn't get away with today. The characters are great. They say just it's kind of like a precursor to Ninja Warrior. Like it was all physical challenge.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, Wipeout that's still on TV.
Yeah.
It was basically Wipeout is basically based on MXC. And the funny thing about MXC is you watch like they're doing these physical challenges, they're getting brutally hurt. Meanwhile, the commentary is saying the most outrageous, horrible, hilarious things about these people, like making up backstories and just saying the most horrible things about them. In reality, those Japanese people were like putting themselves through all this for like dishwashers,
for a toaster,
and like shit like that. It's such a great show.
So yeah, you got Indiana Jones with a giant boulder rolling down, and you had to avoid all these boulders one after another, and it eventually smacked you in the face and toppled you back about 200 feet. But you won a toaster oven.
That's such a great show.
One amazing toaster oven.
But yeah, there's actually a couple shows. Well, did you know that Power Rangers? Did you know that Power Rangers is actually has a similar origin to MXC?
Well, the fight scenes, all the fight scenes where they're wearing costumes.
That is from a Japanese TV show, and then they just cast a bunch of white people to do some high school teen drama bullshit around it.
Triceratops, saber-toothed tiger, Tyrannosaurus.
They made a live-action anime.
I mean,
Power Rangers.
Kind of, yeah. Back in the early '90s for kids, yeah.
It was a live-action anime in Japan, and then we just took the anime parts and made it American for the rest of it.
So the important thing here is that D&D inspired Japanese game shows that were then overdubbed into English. So we have a lot to thank D&D for.
Absolutely.
So yeah, when is this content due out for D&D?
November 17th, 2020.
Yep, November 17th. You can pre-order now. There's a really cool alternate cover that will be available exclusively in your friendly local gaming stores.
So you can go and buy it for the friendly neckbeard.
So if you can find a GameStop.
No,
a real gaming store.
Gaming stores,
an actual gaming store,
video game
stores.
I know. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast really does try and support your friendly local gaming store by only releasing these covers to them. Like you won't be able to get them on Amazon. I mean, you'll be able to get resale versions of them or like resold versions, but not retail.
If you walk into a gaming store and there are neckbeards painting their Warhammer models, you're probably in the right spot.
There's no probably to it. You have found the right spot.
You mentioned something that we'll nerd out for a little while here. If anybody likes tabletop gaming or RPGs or anything, you mentioned magical tattoos.
Yeah, what's really interesting about that actually. So, the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, which was the campaign setting released earlier this year, was created by and written in partnership with Matt Mercer, who's the DM of Critical Role, which some of you may know is a super popular D&D.
Everybody who knows tabletop gaming should know Matt Mercer.
So
for better or worse.
That campaign book is campaign 2 of Critical Role, and he invented that on his own. And the game, like through playing the game, Wizards of the Coast went to him and was like, hey, we want you to turn this into our next official campaign setting. So that's just super fucking cool. But in this world, he invented magical tattoos. So I am going to be really curious. And actually, I need to go look in my Explorer's Guide to Wildmount to see if his magical tattoos are in there or if they're not. And if they are, I wonder if this is going to be simply putting these tattoos into a rule book rather than a campaign setting, or if they will be a different mechanic altogether. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, that sounds kind of like it just based off of the reading, the rune carving, essentially.
I don't remember. You're talking about the Rune Knight
Yeah.
Arcana class?
Yeah.
It's going to depend. Excuse me. It's going to depend. I don't remember exactly what those runes did. You were looking into that class, but Mercer's magical tattoos, they're basically ability score increases. So like,
Nice.
the way that he described it is that you have to mix powdered gem dust into the tattoo ink as part of the magical ritual of the magical tattoo. And when and the type of gem dust that you use determines whether your strength increases, your charisma, wisdom, intelligence, etc.
Oh god, it's the Diablo gem system.
Let's
Rubies for strength. Amethysts for vitality. Topaz for intelligence. Diamonds for... What did diamonds give?
That was like an overall increase, I think.
No, it was all... Oh, was it all resist? Depends on what you socketed in as well. And then emeralds for dexterity. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, Sigurd's gonna go full, I can't believe I forgot Ragnar Lothbrok's name for a minute. Sigurd's gonna go full Ragnar Lothbrok. Just get a big tattoo on his head.
Oh, interesting. So, I just checked my Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, and it does not have tattoos in it. But earlier this year, in March, magic tattoos were added to Unearthed Arcana, which is playtest content for D&D, which, so they release, it's basically, there's an ongoing beta for D&D, and that it's called Unearthed Arcana. And this is playtest material for new spells, new classes, new stuff like that. And some of them that are popular that, get playtested and work well end up getting added to the next main core game update. So that's it seems like Wizards was like, we like this concept of magic tattoos that you implemented, but we want to do it a little differently, so we're going to keep it out of your campaign book, but we'll add it to our next rule book. So that's interesting.
Neat.
There's a lot of new stuff.
But have they come up with a decent fart mechanic?
Oh shit! So so I'm looking at the Unearthed Arcana right now. Oh, this just turned into a D&D podcast. All right, so I'm looking at the magic.
Good night,
tattoo
everybody.
section. So it says magic tattoos are bound to magic needles, which transfer their magic to the creature. The designs can vary greatly in appearance. Blah 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 blah. So there's tattoo rarities, just the same as there are magic item rarities. So the rarity of the tattoo determines how much of your body the tattoo covers. A common tattoo is up to 6 inches. Uncommon is half a limb or your scalp. Rare is a full limb. Very rare is 2 limbs or the upper chest or back. Or a legendary tattoo is up 2 limbs and torso. And there's also a body modification variant that it needn't just be tattoos. You could do magical brands, scarifications, birthmarks, patterns of scales, or any other cosmetic skin adornment. So, Sigurd, if you want to be branded or scarified, we could totally do that as well as tattoos.
I think you'd be more of a tattoo guy. But when you said body modification, all I heard was, who wants a body massage? For anybody who's watched G.I. Joe.
There's a whole list of tattoos that they have included here. And they're basically full magic items. Like there's an absorbing tattoo. While it's on your skin, you have resistance to a type of damage associated to the color of the tattoo. So depending on the color of the tattoo, you could just get damage resistance to an entire damage type. It counts as an attuned
like a protection deck.
It counts as an attuned magic item, so a magic tattoo will take an attunement slot.
That's dumb.
Oh,
I mean, I see why, but it's still dumb.
If
I agree. You're wearing it on your skin.
magic tattoos, they count as a single magic item with regard to the number of magical items you can attune to. So, like, you can go full body mod.
Who wants a body massage?
Let's see. Eldritch Claw tattoo depicts claw-like forms and other jagged shapes. While the tattoo is on your skin, your unarmed strikes are considered magical, and you gain a +1 bonus to attacks and damage with unarmed strikes. That's pretty sick.
That's a monk tattoo.
And it comes with a couple bonuses. Eldritch Maul. As a bonus action, you can empower the tattoo for 1 minute, and for the duration, each of your melee weapon attacks can reach a target up to 30 feet away from you as tendrils of ink launch from your weapon or unarmed strike towards the target. In addition, your melee weapon attacks deal an extra 1d6 force damage on a hit. And once used, it can't be used again until the next dawn. So, once a day for a minute, your melee attacks all of a sudden have a 30-foot range and deal an extra d6 of damage.
Hopefully it's not at a bad time.
The Blood Fury tattoo gives you a crit on a 19 or a 20 instead of just a 20. And crits do an extra 46 damage.
So,
and
stuff like
you
that,
gain a number
because
of hit
Sigurd
points equal to the necrotic damage dealt.
I'm looking for things that you could slide into a druid class, and Sigurd is, slightly. You got that druid sort of side gig going on, but he's mainly a fighter. So yeah, something like that. I briefly considered giving Sigurd 1 level of barb just so he could rage.
That is a Blood Fury tattoo. The Blood Fury is legendary, so it would be quite expensive.
We'd never find it.
I mean, it's not about finding the tattoo, it's about finding the tattoo artist.
Right, but we'd never be able to pay for a legendary. Was that like 500,000 gold or something like that for a legendary item?
Well, it's fucking D&D. It's you pay a bunch of money for something, or you do a favor for a guy.
I'm not killing any more dragons.
In The Witcher. What's that thing in The Witcher?
Toss a coin?
How he got the kid. What is it?
That sounds like
No, I think they call it Child's Prize. But no, what did they?
Oh yeah, he invokes the whatever surprise. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Damn it! Oh, now I'm gonna have to rewatch it. Fuck.
No, just go look it up. It's
What? Jennifer.
I even know what episode it's in.
I know, but if I rewatch it, then I get to see Jennifer.
You can see her right now. Just Google images.
Or just go into The Witcher 3.
It's called the Law of Surprise, unsurprisingly.
Yes. That's... Of course, we couldn't think about that, because it was,
so fucking
so obvious.
So yeah, whatever. Yeah, the point is, whatever. Magical tattoos,
Thank you.
D&D.
Yeah, thanks for indulging my.
No worries. Yeah, that was
Well, of the 4 of us, 3 of us are D&D nerds, so you can suck it, Gobi.
Well, the entire time I was just, so what you're saying is that's like augmentations in Cyberpunk. Cool. No problem. Totally get it.
Basically, every mechanic. Yeah, every mechanic in every video game is based off something in D&D.
I mean, they're all. Yeah, I got it.
Especially Warcraft. Warcraft is D&D.
Well, I mean, Diablo.
Right.
Diablo is D&D.
No, yeah, we've already talked about this. The RNG systems that Blizzard uses are almost exclusively just D&D models.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a game that you guys don't play, but I do. The Division 2 is adding something in Title Update 11 that you guys probably know something about. To me, it sounds fancy. Trans
lives matter.
No, yes.
Transmogrification.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
I wanted to hear Gobi pronounce it. Zero.
Hey, hold up. Say it again. Say it again.
Nope.
By the way, Zero, good fart reference a minute ago. Good fart system. We had some fun with that in our D&D game. But yeah, I felt the way that the fart system worked in the D&D game was adequate.
So Zigbar,
It worked.
I think I figured it out pretty good for like on the spot.
Yeah, it was exactly it was
So,
exactly what we wanted to do.
It was early morning, and Sigurd, who is Dr. Diggle's character, is known for having notoriously strong morning farts. And on this morning, Zigbar, who is Zero's character, was feeling a little rough from the night before, had some rocket fuel orc liquor that kind of fucked him up good. And
Also, Sigurd's doing.
Hair of the dog.
Yeah. It was given to him by Sigurd, unprompted, not warning him that it was fucking jet fuel, and he took a big old swig, and it went poorly. And
Dr. Niggle got zero drunk.
it's not the first time, won't be the last.
No.
And, so Sigurd decided it might be fun in a very tense moment, approaching a location with an unknown status in orc-infested territories on a mission to potentially save the world. He felt to lighten the mood of the morning by giving Zigbar a Dutch oven in his own cloak. And in a hilarious, dramatic moment, Sigurd ran at him, grabbed him, pulled his own cloak over his head, farted inside it, held it tight. Zigbar proceeded to puke the porridge breakfast that he had been eating all over the inside of his cloak. As he tried to recover, the children who just a day before witnessed a brutal orc horde maraud through their village, killing and murdering everyone, had a hearty laugh at seeing this Dutch oven occur. At which point, Zigbar made the wise decision to simply discard his soiled, tattered cloak.
Throw it off the boat.
Now Sigurd is kindly making him a new cloak out of a fine, deep navy cotton.
Yep.
D&D is awesome, guys. You should
Yes,
all play
it
D&D.
is.
You should all fucking play D&D. It's such a fun game.
I'm not gonna lie. So as soon as that conversation started, I immediately jumped to Dr. Niggle farted in Zero's face.
Yep.
I just knew it was coming.
Essentially.
Kind of.
Essentially.
I just knew that sentence was coming. Like
I mean,
in some
it was
form.
great. It was great.
When you roll,
I mean,
this
that's
is the other thing too. Just because of the way everything rolled, it was rolls, and it happened to work out this way. My athletics check was a
fair play
25,
field.
and the opposed acrobatics check was what, like a 15 or something like that. So that's
13.
definitely a 13. So it was definitely a grapple.
Yeah.
I said I wanted to, or
Sigurd
I said
went in
Sigurd
there.
wanted to go all out on that fart. My con save apparently was enough for me not to shit myself, but enough for me to make a mighty
It was
roar.
a DC 15. If you failed the DC 15, you would have shit yourself.
So I got a 17.
So you got a 17, and yeah. So the way I was kind of ruling that was 15 or below, you shit yourself, but as close to 15 as possible is as the rankest fart before the shit. So a 16 would have been like the deadliest without shit.
I could have gotten you unconscious, Zero.
So, but like you were one notch below the worst of a fart, without including the sharding, and
What was your
And-
con save, Zero?
Zero miserably failed his attempt to not vomit.
Yeah,
And that's just the way the game played out.
it was great. It
Also,
actually was
could've-
great.
yeah.
Zero murdered 2 people.
Oh, God!
In our
We
session.
keep on
He
bringing
just
that up.
murdered-
Zero's been so apologetic about that, but he did. He straight up murdered two people, which
Two people
were
who
no
were
threat
not
to us.
violent, they were not threatening, they were not attacking.
Eyes
Okay,
glassed
okay.
over, and he just said "fuck you guys" and just went to town on you, didn't he?
No. In my defense, the first one was shot by Leetness, and then I just finished the job before they yelled stop. After they yelled stop, I did murder one. I will take blame. I will take blame for the second one. The first one, I'm actually going to share blame with Leetness on that one because we didn't know that they were friendly.
Yeah, the first, you shot first, asked questions later, but they did engage in combat once combat was thrust upon them. These are all orcs, by the way. We didn't mention this, but these weren't bad orcs. Orcs are not a monolith.
Yeah, this actually
It's not World
sparked
of
a
Warcraft.
series. it sparked a series of animated thing or whatever things that I made on the fly. Not all orcs. Hashtag not all orcs.
It was great.
All right. Well, I suppose we should probably wrap it up for the night.
Well, you didn't talk about your trans Gobi. Say it. What's the new feature?
Transformation. You're gonna transformation your gear. I gotta look at it. Yeah.
I love it.
Which cartoon was it that had the transmogrification? Or no, Dexter. Sorry, Calvin and Hobbes. Did you never read Calvin and Hobbes when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, the transmogrifier.
He's got his transmogrifier box.
Oh,
yeah, that was.
I remember that now.
That's
yes.
how I know what that word is because I read Calvin and Hobbes.
It's it's a
comic
for
ever.
anyone that thinks or anyone that plays Division 2, you get your transmogrification of gear, which basically means that you can make it look like whatever you want to. It's a glorious mechanic that should have been put in the first Division game, and it's in many games, for Christ's sakes. I mean, it's in Warframe, it's in Diablo, it's in Warcraft, it's in a lot of things.
Just yet further evidence to solidify my opinion that Division is nothing more than Diablo with guns.
Yeah, no, it is. It definitely is. They start off being like, oh no, we're totally not Diablo. And then 7 patches later, it's like, yeah, we're Diablo.
As you're sitting there re-rolling a stat on your gun for the 400th time, yep, it's Diablo.
It's got blood shards and dailies and everything.
Yeah, I took a break on this season. I don't think I'm gonna make it to level 100 this season. I have played other things.
Fucking casual.
Remnant casual. Like 400 hours into the game, so casual.
Much casual, not elite.
Yes, exactly. I'm good, man. I'd rather play lots of games than just one and get completely burnt out.
I like to go hard in the paint on one game until I get burnt out and move on to the next one and go hard in the paint. And then it gets a nice cycle going. And then I revisit old games, go hard in the paint, put them down for 3 years. It's nice.
I did pick up Killing Floor again. Played a little bit earlier today.
Oh, we've been playing the shit out of that lately.
Hell yeah.
Got Linus into it, got Zero into it, and finally got Doc to play it. He doesn't generally like first-person shooters, but he's come to enjoy the senseless violence for what it is, and it's just delightful.
Oh, it's the head pop. It's the head pop, right?
Well, there's fire, and there's AoE. I'm working out which weapons do the greatest fire AoE damage, and that's pretty much what I go after. I'm very narrow-minded like that. I just fire, blow things up.
All right, next time I'll have to take you on the heavily modded Hell on Earth server because they have custom guns, and one of them is a grenade launcher that shoots fire grenades that basically just cover the floor in fire.
Just fine. I'm all about that.
You'll enjoy that. It's nice. You get to stand back, just lob explosive fire grenades, and the alt fires healing grenades, which are also super effective because they poison all the Zeds and fuck them up just as well as the fire. Plus, they can heal your allies. So it's a good dual-use weapon.
It's a twofer.
Yeah. So next time we get you in there, we'll head over to that server, and it's always up, and there's always a ton of people on it.
What'd you guys think of the airship map?
Oh, I love it.
Have not been able to play it yet.
We thought we played it early on with you and Linus when you guys were still on. I'm pretty sure we did it when you guys were still on the Epic version before you got the Steam version.
Potentially, yes. I'm not 100% sure.
But
We played so many maps.
Yeah, we only played together a couple times, and I just burned through a few of the early maps because we couldn't do custom games when you guys were on Epic.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so glad that you all got the Steam version. Which is weird. Yeah, how about we talk about that? Why the fuck is there a game that you can't... It has... Nominally, it has crossplay between Epic and Steam, but you can only do the official servers. You can't do any custom servers with Epic. You can't do any it's really any non-official.
What about private games? Can you do private matches or no?
Well, that's the single player game?
No, like a private. Like you go into the game, you start a party with all 4 of you guys in it, and then you just play a custom match.
I actually looked into that.
problem.
It is possible. But what it requires is the Epic players going to the Steam workshop or it requires me on Steam going to the workshop, downloading the maps, downloading any mods, downloading any modded weapons, enemies, or whatever that I want, extracting those files, giving them to the Epic players so they can put them in the right folders, so that they can. So like you have to manually put it in to do it, then that would be us playing a private game. I couldn't take them onto the public server that's got 40 people playing on it.
Right. Yeah. No. It's the whole. It's so back when Arma 3 started. Obviously, it wasn't on 2 separate launchers or whatever, but like a lot of mods weren't on the Steam workshop, so it was convoluted. I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's a fucking joke because Epic Game Store doesn't have access to the Steam workshop, so any servers that use Steam workshop mods, the Epic Games client can't see, which makes sense. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it makes sense, but it sucks at the same time because the Epic Store has their own mod section, but it's. I don't know. There's still a lot to work out between the 2 launchers, but some games work better than others, I guess.
Maybe it wouldn't be possible to take you onto a custom to those custom servers then, if we did that. But I mean, the big custom server that I'm talking about, they've got like half a dozen new weepons.
Oh, I have it on Steam. So.
But I'm just talking about like how much of a pain in the ass it would be if we actually tried that. Because there's like half a dozen weapons for each different class, and then there's another 8 custom enemies, and to track all of those down and make sure you get all of them properly installed.
Nightmare, man. It's a nightmare.
That just sounds like such a fucking pain in the ass.
I wish I could get so sick in here, because we could tell you stories about. We did this with Arma 3 and mods and servers. Like there was 3 different places you could get mods. There was Armaholics, there was Play with 6, and there was a Steam Workshop. And so if you wanted to play, you downloaded mods across all 3. If anybody wanted to play with you, they had to have the exact same copy. And it was a pain in the ass to get that to every single person that was going to play on the server. And yeah, it's a nightmare. They need one, it almost needs to be a third party to take over mod support for games if they're going to be cross-play between Steam and Epic, so that we don't run into this problem.
Honestly, that's a great point. Like, it'd be nice to see game developers hosting mod libraries on their own servers.
GOG, hey!
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah. Now I will. So, obviously, the game that I've been playing a lot lately is Remnant from Ashes, which is another game that was just free on Epic, which I originally bought the game. It was like the day it came out or shortly after it came out on Steam. And, obviously you guys had bad experiences with Epic and we were worried about it. When they updated the Steam version of Remnant, they updated it where it required you to log in with your Epic ID, and it uses the Epic whatever for multiplayer, and it no longer uses Steam. So that's how Remnant did it, so there's no fuckery, I guess you could say. So that was one way of around it, but Steam's not going to give that up for all those games. I mean, but Remnant's different. There's no workshop support. There's no mod support, where Killing Floor is based on mods.
Well, what does Steam get by hosting the workshop? Like, there's no money in it for them, is there? Because mods aren't paid mods. You just go on the workshop.
So this was the huge deal back in the day with Arma 3. A lot of developers wouldn't put their mods on Steam because of the terms of service. Basically, if you put the mod on Steam, Steam had rights to it. Like they owned it or something. I never got into it because I never put a mod on Steam, but a lot of the big mod developers didn't want to put their mods on Steam at the time because of the way the Steam Workshop worked. Gotcha. Obviously, they're now on Steam, so something must have changed on the back end.
Or
so
they just caved.
Or
they just caved.
Yeah, I mean, So I'm not sure exactly how the workshop works. I know as an end user, the workshop is fucking amazing. As a mod developer, I don't know.
I mean, fuck. I guess end of the day, go loops back up to our first conversation. End of the day, you got your platform that you can release and develop for, and sometimes you got to mirror development for different platforms. So you got modders out there who are going to have to start putting stuff on Epic and Steam Workshop.
Well, the good news is it all uses the same thing. So it's more of porting the mods over to Epic. So it'd be mod developers basically uploading the mod in two separate places.
Okay.
I mean, that's basically what it's going to come down to. Like, the game is the exact same. Like, if you open up the files on Steam and Epic and you put them side by side, all the files are the exact same. The only difference might be the executable. One might be signed to Valve and one might be signed to Epic. Whereas Remnant from the Ashes, that's an exception. The Valve or the Steam version is also, the EXE is also signed to the Epic Game Store.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, crossplay, it's obviously still in its infancies, and we're going to have these kinks, but we got to have these kinks in order to work them out and
No
move
pink
on.
shaming here.
I kind of saw that one coming.
Hey, we all have
Very low hanging
gotta
fruit.
love them. Gotta love those kinks, man.
Good band.
All right, yeah.
The Dirty Kinks.
You ever
Good
listen to the
times.
Kinks? They're a good band.
Oh my god, yeah, the Kinks were a good band.
All right, it was saved for the post show.
Yep.
We're
Yeah,
winding
yeah.
down.
All right, we thanks for joining, and
Later, fuckers.
peace.
Penis.